if you've never preached before and they got you in the monitors, it sounds like there's an echo in here, so I can't take it. I say it, then I hear it a second after I say it, so it just kind of plays in my head a little bit. So today, what we're starting, this won't be a short series. It's going to be at least 5, maybe 6 weeks. And so I've been fleshing it out and developing it and trying to get us ready for the purpose behind worship and the reason behind worship. And it doesn't matter about the style or the how it sounds. It's literally about the intention behind it. And so we're going to start to uncover and dig a little bit and find out what worship is really about. And so this week we're going to start in Psalms. So Psalms is literally a bunch of songs, and it's a bunch of singing to God, and it's really going to give us in 4 short verses the meaning behind worship and where it comes from, and give us a true foundation of it. And so today is the gift of worship. And so we have 2 presents up here. They'll play a part in our story just a little bit later. And so they are legitimate presents. There are things inside of them. And one has something a little more valuable, one has something a little less valuable, but they both all have their value. And so we're going to look at those in just a second. But if you will with me, turn into Psalms chapter 51, verses 14 through 17, and we're going to look at the gift of worship. And so 14 through 17 in this Psalms. And this Psalms is a Psalms that was written by David. Possibly Nathan had something to do with it as well, but follow along with me. This is, I'm going to read the entire passage first, and then we'll look at it verse by verse after that, okay? Psalms 51:14. Save me from blood guilt, O God, the God who saves me, and my tongue will sing your righteousness. O Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. You do not delight in sacrifice, or I would bring it, and you do not take pleasure in burnt offerings. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, you will not despise. Let me pray really quickly. Lord, I thank you, Father, for just the opportunity to look at worship, God. I thank you for the gift of worship as we look at it today. God, without you, without the gift that you give us, God, that worship is meaningless. And God, we're going to look at the gift of worship. God, I pray that you'll open the eyes of people's hearts. God, I pray that you'll begin to allow people to enter into true worship. And God, that you'll begin to help people understand worship for what it is. And God, I pray that you will use this time for your glory, God, for your name's sake, to make people more like you and to feel the purpose you have for them. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And so as we look at this, there's all these tons of misconceptions about worship and what worship is. And so if you talk to a younger generation, worship is a certain style of music. In fact, today if you go into a Christian bookstore and you say, I would like to see your worship section, they would take you to a genre of music that is worship music. If you go into a church and they say, we're about to have worship, then a lot of times it may mean the entire service, or it may be in a section of the service, or it may be a type of song. But we're going to look at the true heart of worship, because the heart of worship is totally different in the underlying themes of it. And it starts with how worship originated. And so how worship starts, how worship begins. And so we find it right here in Psalms chapter 51. So look with me at the very first verse, and it's going to be very detailed, and it's going to be very pinpoint about where worship comes from. And look at what it says. Look, it's very simple. It says, save me from blood guilt. And let me explain what this is. This is literally the debt that is on one person for the way they have acted, the way they have responded, the sin that's in their life, and they're tarnished, and the guilt that is in their blood, the sin that they live in is going to cause them death. And so he's saying, save me from that. Save me so I don't have to die. This is David going, I am guilty. Save me from being guilty. And it's pretty significant that it's a blood guilt, because this blood guilt is deeper than I made a boo-boo or I messed up. It is literally in your veins. It is who you are. And so literally every single person that's born into this world is born with the guiltiness that is running in themselves. It is who they are. And so David literally says here, save me from myself. Like, I can't save myself, and I know it, and I need someone to intervene. And David says, save me from my blood guilt. And then he says, oh God, the God who saves me, here's what happens. My tongue will sing your righteousness. And so as you look at this, I would love for you to fill out the blanks with me as we go through them. And this is today, if you will, follow along with me in this series and kind of fill out these blanks. I promise it'll help you throughout this entire series. And here's the first one. This is it. So where does worship, what happens with worship? How does it begin? And this is it. Worship is initiated by God. It is literally started by Him. He begins the process. Listen, before God intervenes into your life, there's no reason to proclaim Him. There's no reason to worship Him. There's no reason to lift His name up. He starts the praise. He starts it inside of you. And look at how David so eloquently words it. He says, the God who saves me, my lips will sing to you. He literally says, if you will take me out of where I'm living, then I will, in return, sing your praises. Now, singing your praises, that term, sing your praises, is not necessarily singing. So last night we were at the fish fry, and it was taking a little longer than we thought it would. And somebody in the kitchen, some wise guy in the kitchen said, Pastor Rob, you can sing some songs to entertain people. And I said, do you want anybody to stay to eat the fish? Because if I start singing in the fellowship hall, there will be a mass exodus to leave and not eat any fish. God did not get, I told Heather just this week, I said, man, I wish with all of my being that God had given me the ability to sing like you can. But He didn't. He didn't give me that ability. And here's what's really amazing. Listen. When God saves me, and when I recognize and understand that God is my Savior, I cannot help but worship Him with everything that I am. My soul sings His praises. So I just want to read one passage in Isaiah 49:13, and we actually covered this on Wednesday night, but look at, this is literally the action that takes place when someone comes into the family of God. Someone's blood guilt is removed. Look at what it says. It says literally this. Shout for joy, for you heavens. Rejoice, you earth. Burst forth into song, you mountains. For the Lord comforts His people, and He will have compassion on the afflicted ones. And literally, God is everything within Him because of the goodness of God and what He's capable of. Because He comes to His people, because He saves His people, He has compassion on them. Everything in creation bursts forth into praises for the King of Kings. So last night, after the fish fry was over, I go in and Phil and Tony are in the kitchen, and I go and I see this envelope. I did open it, by the way. I don't know if I was supposed to or not, but if I wasn't supposed to open it, you shouldn't have put my name and Heather's name on the front of it, because if it has her name or my name on it, I'm opening it. I don't care if it's hers or not. But it says Rob and Heather Eller, 5340 Flow Store Road, which is not my address, that's a church's, but cool, I got it. And so here it is. No, it's not stamped, so nobody put it in the, they didn't put it in the mail. It's even got Concord, North Carolina, 28025. And inside, I could tell something good was in it. You ever know when you can tell something good's in something? It didn't smell funny, but you could feel it had some consistency to it. It wasn't just a little, listen, I love letters, but what's in here is a little more pricey. Letters are priceless, so it depends on who writes them, I guess. I mean, if Randy writes me a love note, I'm probably not keeping it. So here's what I get in it. I don't know who gave me this because they didn't put any information in it, but it's a Quick Trip card for $1,000. No, not really. Some of y'all got excited. Some of y'all are going, we're getting ice cream after church. No, it's $25. But here's what's really great, and this happens, so like inside of me, I was like, number one, somebody thinks a lot of me and Heather, and I don't know who it is. And here's what's really, really crazy is that inside of me, there's singing of praises that somebody thought, and this just happened last night, somebody thought enough of me to send me and Heather a gift card to QT, and for no reason, I don't even know why, but here it is, and something inside of me wants to thank them, wants to say thank you for what you did. I don't know who it is. If you're here, thank you. But here's what's really amazing. Listen very carefully. You know if you're God's child who saved you, and worship is literally thanking him for what he did. That's what it is. And so that's how it's initiated. It's initiated that way. Doesn't it make it? It's really easy if you think about it like that, really, honestly. So, all right. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I don't want to ruin the presence up here. Good presence. Okay. So Psalms 51:15. And so if God initiates the worship, so worship is initiated by God by what he did for you, the price that he paid. Not only just the price he paid. Listen, somebody paying a price is amazing, right? So if you get a ticket and somebody pays your ticket, that's great. But you know what's even better than that? Someone paying your ticket and then someone coming and helping you not to get the ticket again. That's even better, right? So what happens is Jesus paid your ticket, he paid your debt, and then he comes into your life and he helps you not to have that trouble anymore. And so that's worth praising him and thanking him for it, and that's what he did. And then here's the second part. So Psalms 51:15, here's what it says. 51:15, it says, O Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. So it says, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. Now, there's two parts to this, and it's not very hard. First is God has to open your mouth, and the second thing is, after he opens your mouth, because of what he did, he initiated it, out of your mouth will come, pretty easy, praises. All right? So if you following along, worship is, listen to this, accomplished through God. It's not just initiated by him, it's accomplished through him. And so as we walk in this Christian life, it is really important that we understand that worship, listen, so I told you a few minutes ago that God didn't give me the ability to sing, but God did give some people the ability to sing, and at no point in their life have they worshiped God, or can they worship God because they don't have God in their life. They could act like they're worshiping God. One of my favorite things about artists today, especially country artists, you may be a country music fan, but I guarantee you every country music artist will eventually sing Amazing Grace sometime in their life. They'll come out with a country album that they got a Christian album now, and they sing that Christian album, and I don't know if they got saved or not, but here's what I do know. I guarantee you everyone that's come out with a Christian album, or every rock band that's sang Amazing Grace, they don't know the Lord. Not every one of them. There's no way. And just because they say the right words doesn't mean that worship is coming from them, because worship is accomplished by God, not by the individual. I want you to see, there's several scriptures here that I just wanted you to see with me, and they're in your notes, and they're going to be on the screen. John 4:24. God is spirit, and his worshipers must worship in spirit and in truth. Now, this gives you a little idea of where God's true worshipers come from. Now, there's people that call themselves worshipers, but there's two things that have to be present and evident in their life. First, the Spirit has to dwell in them. Secondly, they have to worship in the truth, in the fact that they're living in the truth. You go back and you look at Psalms, it says, open my lips. That's open my lips to the true understanding and the praise that can come out of them. And it is literally living in spirit and in truth. Then look at Isaiah 55, 1-5, and it says this, look. Come all who are thirsty, come to the water. And you who have no money, come and buy and eat. Come buy wine and milk without money and without cost. Why spend money on what is not bread, and labor for what does not satisfy? Listen to me, and eat what is good, and you will delight in the riches of fare. Give ear and come to me and listen, that you may live and I will make an everlasting covenant with you, my faithful love promised to David. See, I have made him a witness to the people, a ruler and commander of all peoples. Surely you will summon nations you know not, and nations you do not know will come running to you, because the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, for he has endowed you with splendor. Several things here that I want you to see in this passage in Isaiah, and if you flip back over on your notes, you can see it. Here's what it says. Look, it says, listen to me. Do you see that? The second to last line. It says, listen to me and eat what is good, and you will delight. That word is key. So delight, you can underline it, circle it, whatever. That delight literally means to worship, to heap praises on. So somebody goes, what do you think about your wife? And you can delight in your wife. You can give her all kind of accomplishments. You can give her all kind of praises. Or you can go, yeah, she's all right. She stays with me, I mean, I guess that's something. But delighting in someone is literally heaping praises on. And then look, I want you to see something else. You flip it over and you look at the last line. This is amazing to me. And this is you and me. Everybody that's a believer, this is it. Look at what it is. It says, nations you do not know will come running to you because of the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, has enrobed you, engulfed you with his personal splendor. Isn't that amazing? And so, what happens literally is, because you know the truth and because God has opened your eyes, because he has given you ears to hear and words to speak that are true, nations come running because of not your splendor, but his splendor and your worship of him because of your lifestyle. Literally, you'll live in a state of worship because of what he has done for you. All right, so now, I did this a couple weeks ago, and it took me a long time to get 3 volunteers. I just need 2 today, so I'm making it really easy. 2 volunteers. Let me see. Anybody at all? 2 volunteers. All right. Lizzie, come on, and Peyton. That's fine. Look, teenagers will come. They'll come do anything. I just want y'all to know, whatever's in these boxes, you got to eat them. I mean, some's good, some's bad. No, not really. Not really at all. All right, so Lizzie was the first one I called, so here's what I'm going to do. Lizzie, you get to pick which package you want. Which one do you want? The smaller. You want the smaller one? Okay, Peyton, you get the bigger one, because Peyton's a big guy. Why are y'all laughing? He is. Come on, guys. Peyton knows. Peyton knows. It's not the size, right, Peyton? It's what's in the package, right? So what I've done is I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about these packages. And so I wrapped these packages last night, and I have told you more than once, my mom can testify, my first job ever in anything I ever did was wrapping packages. These packages are absolutely horrible, because I went to the store last night, bought the things that are in these packages, and I got home last night and I said, we got any tape? And my loving older daughter goes, oh, I got some in my room. You know what she brought me? A roll about that big of duct tape. And so, they're double-sided tape, so you can't see the tape on the outside. It's black, too. It wasn't, colorful. It wasn't awesome. It was ugly. And so I'm sorry the packages look a little rough, but anyway, they are what they are. So let me ask you a question. Who do y'all want to see open their package first? I really don't care, honestly. Lizzie, okay. Lizzie, you get to open your package first. Now, open it like you would on Christmas morning. You open it okay. Oh, she got bagel bites. Isn't that good? I love bagel bites. Have you ever had bagel bites before? Do you think bagel bites are in it? Liz? No. Why not? Oh, the outside of the box is taped up. It is. I don't know what's in. Actually, I do know because I bought it. But Lizzie doesn't know what's in it. Yes, you got to open it. Should I keep going? Come on. On Christmas morning, do you stop after you open it up and see the box? No. My dad taught me well. It's stuck to her hand. That's good. All right, Lizzie, what you got in there? Anything? Something. Okay. A gift card. So let me tell everybody what this gift card is for. This is a $25 gift card to Olive Garden, Longhorn. I don't know where the Yard House is at, but Red Lobster, season 32. I don't know where that's at either, but Olive Garden, Longhorn, and Red Lobster are pretty good, in my opinion. So, Lizzie, there you go. So, Lizzie, that's yours. You get to keep that. Yeah, and Deut's not feeling well, but wait till he gets better and you can take him to get some more fish. All right, so just stay right there for just a second, okay? All right, so Peyton, it's your turn. And so, like I said, both these packages have something in them. And who knows, one was more valuable than the other one? Yeah, I know. I'm so glad you got that one, Peyton. I'd probably open it from the bottom. That may be the easier one. Yeah. Okay. So I was wrapping these packages last night, and I was thinking about who would volunteer, and I really didn't know, but I'm so thankful Peyton got this one. Actually, I picked this out just for him. What'd you get, Peyton?
I got some socks.
He got some socks. And just so you know, I spared no expense. They were $4 socks. So I got a question for everybody out here. If you would have volunteered, some of you are kicking yourself because you like to go eat at Longhorn. Which package would you have rather opened? I'm just asking. Anybody? This one over here, Lizzie's, right? Because you got starter socks, which are awesome, but there's starter socks. Okay, so y'all can go sit down. You proved my point. You made a mess. Awesome. Okay, so just leave it there. Leave it there. It's good. It's going to help me with my point in just a second. So what I did was, and literally, listen, so we went and bought these things last night because I just want to give stuff away. I think that's awesome to give stuff away. And two, I wanted to see Peyton's face when he opened socks. Let me tell you about, I've told you about this before, but it fits so nicely in today's message. I don't know, I was maybe Bryn's age, maybe a little younger, and my mom and dad, me and my brother and sister, we all went to John and Peggy Williams' house for Christmas one year. And John and Peggy Williams, he was the production manager at the Merida warehouse, or the production center in Charlotte, and I was extremely excited because they had a whole lot more money than we did, and I know they did. And they bought me a present. I'm thinking, hot dog, like video game, something awesome. And we get there, and my mom gives me the talk. Y'all know what talk I'm talking about, all the way over to their house? No matter what they get you, Robert, you'll be happy. Now, I want to remind you where I live. I live in Albemarle, North Carolina, which is pretty warm year-round. And so we go to their house. We open up presents. And I can't wait to get mine. And I get to open mine almost first before anybody else. And I dig into my presents. Not as big as I thought it would be, but I dig into it. It kind of looks like a shirt box. You know how disappointing that is? Like you get there and you see your shirt box and you're like, really? I'm 8 years old and you got me a shirt box? I mean, I know what's in that. And so I tear into it, and you know what I pull out? Gloves and a scarf. Is this the only one I'm getting? And then Mom gives me the evil eye. Have you ever got the evil eye for your mom? And I said, oh, thank you so much. And the whole time, I know the whole time, Heather says you can read me like a book when I get upset. I bet I was going. But the good news is my brother and sister, they both got scarves and gloves too. So, and then I started thinking about this scarves and gloves thing. I'm thinking, you know what, it's getting cold. And then, you've been in North Carolina. How often does it snow here? Like once or twice a year. And I'm thinking, boy, I'll get a lot of use out of these. And then on top of that, it wasn't even good gloves. It was the knit cotton gloves. And I'm thinking, this is the worst gift ever. And so Peyton opened my package and he said, thanks, Rob. Thank you. Yeah, I'll expect to see you wearing them next Sunday. Yeah. Inside your boots. They're low cut, so that will make it really awesome when your boot rubs your leg. And so So listen, there were two packages up here, and one was not amazing because I told somebody yesterday, I said, I'm giving away a good prize tomorrow, and they're like, where, a trip to Myrtle Beach? And I'm like, yeah, do you know how much you pay me? No. And so I was like, no, it's not quite that good, but anytime I can go to Longhorn and get anything I want, because listen, $25 will buy you anything you want on their menu. One person, not two people, one person. Buy anything you want. The meal's on me. You tell Doyle to pay for his own, okay? And so Lizzie gets to go there, or Olive Garden, if Olive Garden your choice, or Red Lobster, and you can buy anything, one item on the menu, anything you want. Or you could have picked a package that had a bunch of socks in it. And so what happens is literally, listen, I could not even if I had a trip around the world, it would not compare to the magnificent gift that God gave us. And if Peyton was honest and I gave him truth serum and he came up here and he talked to me and he said, man, I wish I would have got the other package. I'm not really too excited about these socks. And honestly, he's not going to go home and go, man, I'm so thankful Rob let me open this package. I could be wrong, Lizzie. I may be really wrong. I guarantee you when Lizzie leaves today, she'll call her parents and let them know what she won today. The worship that comes out of you is not accomplished in anything that you have. It's accomplished in what God gave you, not in what you have. And because of what he gave you, it opens your mouth to praise him. But listen, I want you to hear something really carefully. The religious, rules, churchy, no God answer, being really religious and being really committed to a church doesn't produce worship because it's like a pair of socks that wears out. And it will wear you down, and it will keep you beat down, and it doesn't give life. But the package that God produces life and produces worship because of what he does. So here's the last one, and this is maybe the most controversial one, but I want you to see specifically what Psalm says. I mean, I'm not making this up. It's not my opinion. It's right here in Scripture. And this is Psalms 51:15 through 17. O Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. Look at 16. This is the key. You do not delight in sacrifice, or I would bring it. You do not take pleasure in burnt offerings. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart. Oh God, you will not despise those. And so if you cannot understand this worship being a gift until you understand how the gift is received and then proclaimed. Listen, so here it is. Worship is not your morality, but your brokenness, literally. It's not your morality. It's not how good you are. It's not how well it is, but it is the brokenness that's inside of you. So I was thinking about gifts and thinking about how this relates to the gift that God's given you, and this is it. So go back to that day, that Christmas, that my mom told me to respond the right way. She said, make sure you respond the right way when John and Peggy give you whatever they give you, and be appreciative. And to be completely honest, I was not appreciative at all. I hated the gift, but I responded the right way. And here's the question I have, and you don't have to answer out loud because you know the answer already. Did I really give them praises for what they gave me? And then here's the other, probably my fondest Christmas I've ever had, except for what my mom made me wear when I had this, but she's in here, and I don't know if I've complained about this with her or not, but she'll hear it today. One Christmas morning, I walked into the living room, and sitting in our living room was a go-kart, like put together, sitting in the living room. And it was a used one that my dad fixed up, but it was sitting in the living room, and I was the first one up, and I sat in it and was like, yes, this is awesome. Like, I've been wanting one of these. And then as I began to open presents, and this is the part that I didn't care for, my mom gave me this toboggan that came down that had eye holes here and here and here. Like it didn't have a mouth hole. It's a really weird nose hole and 2 eye holes. And then I had this bright, was it red? I think it was red. Maybe white. It's white or red. Helmet on a go-kart. You know, because they're so easily flipped, you know, go-karts, especially. I didn't have one of the jacked up ones. Mine was about this close to the ground. And she was like, okay, I don't care if you ride it. And when you ride it, you got to wear that helmet. And Natalie gets mad at me because I make her wear knee pads when she skateboards. Well, no, I don't. I don't make her wear them because she hasn't rode her skateboard since I made her wear safety equipment. But anyway. So I didn't care one bit about putting the helmet on, honestly, that first day. Now, I didn't wear it much after that, but that first day, sure, Mom. Wore that helmet, and I rode the go-kart, once my dad got it going, rode the go-kart in the backyard over and over and over again. And I can honestly say, at one time it did get old, you know, but it was the gift that got old the slowest amount of time. So, like, some gifts you open on Christmas, and by the time that afternoon comes, you go, man, why did I ask for that? But that gift, like, friends would come over, and I'd be like, hey, you want to ride the go-kart? So it was a lot of fun. Like, I couldn't, and I was like, man, thank you so much for my go-kart. I'm so excited about it. And so that gift was true praise, true worship, true thanksgiving, true delightment. Listen to this, and this is probably the easiest way I know to say it. It was true brokenness because I didn't think I was going to get one. You go, why didn't you think you would get one? Because my parents fed me. We're poor, and we can't afford one of them, and they're expensive, and you're not getting one. Like, I got that all the way up to Christmas. And then the day I walked in, listen to this, the day I walked in, it broke everything I thought was true, and the truth was sitting in front of me. And in that brokenness, not morality, not I'm going to respond the right way, in that brokenness, morality comes out of it, and worship is naturally generated. You go, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for God and me? Like, God gives me to worship because of what he did, and he accomplishes it through me, through his spirit and truth. And what does it mean to say that he wants me broken? Well, I honestly believe this without any reservations, that you cannot truly worship God until you understand how broken you are because of him. You go, well, that sounds terrible. No, so here's what happened 25 years ago, almost now. God showed up in my life, and he destroyed everything I thought I was. And now he's putting the pieces back together. And in my brokenness, I can proclaim him. And I want to show you just a couple of scriptures, Isaiah and 2 in Psalms, and we'll be finished. Isaiah 66:2 says, has not my hand made all these things, and so they come into being, declares the Lord. These are the ones I look on with favor, those who are humble and contrite in spirit, and who tremble at my word. Literally broken, humble, contrite, scared almost. You go, why are you scared? Because I know God can totally annihilate me if he wanted to. He could totally destroy me. Because he's done it before, but he's putting me together. And look at Psalms 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalms 51:8, and this is at the very beginning of the passage that we started. Let me hear joy and gladness, and let the bones you have crushed rejoice. That sounds awful, doesn't it? Like God's going to crush me? You better hope he does. You go, why is he going to crush me? Because until you are broken, and I'm talking about even believers, listen, until you are broken, you cannot experience the power of God in your life. And you cannot experience worship from your mouth and from your life. And you go, why is that? Because listen to this. So, I don't know, I guess I was 21 Yeah, 21, 22 almost, I guess. Maybe 22. So I was playing church football with some kids, and when I was 18, and I dropped the football because I'm not, anyway, whatever. So I dropped the football, we're playing tackle, and a kid dove through the back of my arm. My arm was pinned like this, and he dove through it on the ground and dislocated my shoulder in the front of my body. And I didn't really know what happened, but I rolled over and grabbed my arm, and it naturally went back in place. I know it hurt like crazy, and it didn't stay out. And so then it would pop out, I don't know, periodically, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes it wouldn't pop out all month, and then it would get happy about it and pop out at everyone. I'll never forget one time in my yard, I picked up just a flat cardboard box with this arm, and it popped out. I don't even know why. Well, one night it popped out in my sleep, and Heather is scared to death because so some of us guys, when we get just a little bellyache, we act like it's the end of the world, and we want our wives to wait on us hand and foot. I've never done that. And so, but this night I woke up and I had to wake her up. My arm was asleep, and then it wasn't asleep much longer, and I was in pain. And she said, something's wrong with you. And I said, you think? I mean, my arm was like this, and I couldn't move it. Like move these fingers, and that was it. She said, there's something wrong with you. And I was like, yeah. And I said, how do you know? And here's what she said. You're freezing, but you're sweating. And I said, feel like my arm's about to fall off. And I said, try to put it back in place. And I said, try to move it down. Try to do something with it. And she started moving it, and it was cracking and popping in my body, and I could hear it. And she was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, sounds like you're ripping stuff out of my body. She's like, I can't do no more. I'm calling your sister. I was like, all right. She called my sister. My sister came over, and she started moving it, and I said, I can just hear it moving and cracking and hurting.